Good afternoon. It's coming up to 1:30. This is half an hour before FMOC at 2 o'clock, and I'm just going to recap my trading for today. I'm pretty much done. I took one trade today, just one trade, and I'll go into that in a few seconds. Just wanted to point out on the daily while we're here, we talked about this daily trend line. So you can see I got drawn in here in blue. So we got this trend line drawn there, this steeper trend line there, and I drew this vertical one. It's been in place since the start of October. Wednesday the 4th of October I drew it in when I just linked it up. And what we're looking at is a break of the trend line, and we're basically playing out this scenario coming in and coming in. I thought we might see it tighten up a bit before we break, and it didn't. It broke already, and that was on Friday, I believe, Wednesday last week. And today it looks like we're coming up to we come up to and retested that area as well. And it's a scenario I played out in pre-market video. Also want to note is this pullback. So we've got a nice pullback, but look at the volume. It's on reducing volume, and generally that shows weakness in the buyers, and it's a textbook pullback as well. So price comes up and volume goes down, and that shows that there's weakness, and we could see potentially more downside. But just something to be wary of. We've got FMOC, and who knows where that's going to go. We could see it push up really heavy, or we could see it push down. If it pushes down, then that will give us this textbook pullback. It could even just go sideways. So we've got a few things it could do. And one thing also to note, we've got this 200 moving average. We came down, we tested it, pushed up, we retested the 50 moving average as well, and obviously this trend line was set up from that point. And then this is where we broke down through the 200 moving average, and we could potentially see a test of the 200 again today if FMOC gives us a big green candle. So that's a couple of areas we're watching for anyway. While it's below the 200, I can't see any good swing plays or long swing trades at the moment. There's a couple I'm watching. BA was one of them, and Coin was another one I was watching for. But until we get above this 200, then I don't really want to go long just yet. But anyway, let's go into my trade for today. I just wanted to point out the daily and the lower volume. That's really where we are. May have some significance over the next few days. So my one trade in my pre-market video today, let me just open up my plan. So I've got today, it's Wednesday, where are we? Wednesday the 1st. Go back to the chart. So this is my plan for today. So pre-market game plan, 42.18, break and retest long. And I said rejection is higher risk and against the 1 hour micro trend. Obviously we're in a daily downtrend still. Break and retest higher probability with the trend. So, and that was exactly the one I took. I also had a 42.42 rejection, daily trend line possible, break and retest short swing. A possible break and retest short. So break through that level and back down again, as in like a fake breakout. And that could be a swing trade, and I'll show you the reason. Well, we just talked about that. That's the pullback I was just talking about. And then 4200 to 4196, a bounce area, and I just put no fear. And because obviously I've been downsizing a little bit over last week, when I had a red day on Friday, I'm trying not to let fear take over. And obviously I've already commented on my trade, quite detailed notes. That's where I got in, and that's what my recap was. So let's just quickly go over the trade. I've not uploaded it yet. So this is the trade I took today. It was 9:30, so this is pre-market, and originally I said I wanted to reject 42.17, that area, and then just as I got to the end of my pre-market video, the live video, we were just pushing through, and I said, well, that trade's off the cards now, and so that's no longer a valid setup because it's already broken through, it's not rejected. And so one thing I did say, I'm going to wait for it to come back and retest, and that's exactly what I did. I came in, I went long. Initially I went long there. I'm going to go into what this orange line is in a minute as well. And then my next long was just at the level 42.17, and I initially went in with just a small size, and I keep forgetting to. I'm trying not to have fear in the market. It's so close after the open, I generally size down. But I thought, no, today and moving forward, I'm going to have no fear, stick to my normal sizes, and it's either a good setup or it's not. And if I wanted to be really conservative, I could have taken the break of that green candle. So I wasn't really watching volume, because in the open the volume is always high anyway. But we had this initial this is the opening candle. We had that initial push down right into this retest area, the pre-market highs. Well, technically that was the pre-market highs, but I'm going by this level here, and that's why I went long. My first out was as it broke the high of the day, or the high of the pre-market, so that's my out. I did wonder whether I should have been looking to add, and again that's where fear comes in, or fear of my break even was there, and if I added, my break even would have been there potentially. If I moved my pivot, if I moved my stop to my break even point, I could have probably got tailed out. Maybe that's why the market put in this big tail, to stop out people who were adding and then coming back into the market, moving their stops, or at least putting their stops up here. So I didn't add, but I held. My first target, my original target was 42.39, I think it was, around about this area here. And we had the data drop at 10. I've forgotten about it, even though I mentioned it today to keep an eye on it. And we had a load of sellers around this area as well. And this data candle took out all of them. So the next area of sellers, and there's a few sellers sitting at this level as well, but it was very minor. But the next big area is 42.40 area. So I moved my stop to just below 42.40. So my target price was just there. And as you can see, I think I got my target got hit as we came up to that level, 42.40. And yeah, that was it. So it was a good trade. I got the meat of the move, and you've probably seen before, I like to think about the meat of the move as a fish. So we got the tail of the fish here, and you've got the body of the fish here, and then you've got the head of the fish at the top. Not a very good fish, I know. And I'm going to make him happy because it's a green day. And that's kind of like, and I got the body, the meat of the move, that's what I like to see. And the head and tail is what the fishermen normally discard back. And that's like waiting for confirmation to get into the trade. Silly analogy, I know, but getting the meat of the move is the important point. And I was a bit disappointed, even though I did really well out of this trade. I traded in 17 Apex accounts. I did really well. And I was still angry at myself because I left money on the table, and I've got this zone, look at this, the zone drawn in, 42, 48, and we came right up to the very touch of the zone perfectly. Maybe I could have put my target up here instead, but I was using level 2 to as an out, and that's where we had all the sellers and you can see we came into the level 2, we came into all these sellers, and we weren't able to crack it, and we just rejected it. So going back over to my watch list to just go back what we talked about. So 42.18 break and retest. So this area here was a great trade. That's the one trade I took. 42.42 rejection. 42.42 rejection. I'm not far off. That's not a bad area. It's that level, that blue line is what I was watching for. So this blue line here. And I always like to use decent stop losses, not just like a dollar percentage, but an area which is meaningful. So if you put your stop just above the supply zone, which is a natural area of resistance anyway, this trade would have worked out pretty well. Or you could have waited for confirmation, and the confirmation could have been the break of consolidation there, and you would have got this trade nice. Or the better trade, which is my preferred trade, as you probably gathered, the break and retest here, you could have got the break and the retest of this area, and then and then we've got a level as well, 42.36. It's also bottom of the supply zone. So lots of reasons why this short would have worked. Would I have taken it? Probably, if I wasn't trying to preserve my green day from that run up. I probably would have also watched this head and shoulders pattern. And you can see it, can't really see it on the 5 as much as the 2, but you've got this left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and you've got a neckline as well. And the play would have been the break of this neckline. So there's a few plays we could have seen up there. And these are my favourite, these head and shoulders are my favourite. I like trying to get in on the right hand shoulder, but as a higher risk play, the break and retest of the head and shoulders is the higher probability play. Or you could have got the break of the shoulder as well, the break of the neckline. But either way, 3 good plays, higher risk, slightly higher risk, and higher probable would have all worked out. So one thing I want to say is, what is this orange line? So I've been playing around with anchored VWAPs, and you can get this on TradingView. And when we had that data candle at 8:30, you probably noticed before I put in the fibs for it to mark out where the 50% is in the top and bottom. But the anchored VWAP, you just click on it, anchors the VWAP from the starting place you want it to. So I wanted to anchor it from this data candle, the 8:30 candle, where we saw this big push up at 8:30, and you can see it was holding the VWAP. We broke through, tested the 50% mark. Remember how much I keep talking about? I think these areas have significance. Funny how the 50% and the bottom of this supply zone all happen to line up with each other. So this candle came in, tested it, pushed back up, and look, it held this anchored VWAP all day. Held it there, and that is exactly where I got in actually. I saw it coming back, and my entry was just coming into the VWAP, the anchored VWAP, and my stop was just below. That was my play today. You can see it honoured it there as well, and then we saw this big push up, and I suppose the move's ended now, but I quite like the idea of looking at I like to keep an eye on the anchored VWAP as well. So just something else, another tool to add. I can get rid of it now because it'll be a new one tomorrow at 8:30 if we got 8:30 news tomorrow. 7:30, 8:30. Yeah, we got some news. Jobless claim, initial jobless. So it says 2 out of 3, not 3 out of 3. So it's relatively important. It could move the market 8:30. So I'll monitor the 8:30 candle again, like I've done here. But then again, like I said, I don't think there's any coincidences in the market where we've got the 50% of this candle and we come back to the 50%. We've got the tops and bottoms. You can see it held this top quite nicely. I know it's in between, broke down, came back, tried to retest it, but then that's where the anchored VWAP came in along here as well. So a decent day. I'm gonna end the video now. I didn't look at anything else. I didn't look at oil, which is, I was about to say, at the time it was doing pretty well, and now it's come right back. We talked about oil. We said it could be a double bottom at 80.74. That was in the pre-market video today, and we did say we've got these areas. You look how it's rejected these areas as well. So in the pre-market we were about here, I think about here, and it's pushing up, and we got this big rejection area here, so we could watch for a rejection up here. But this is the next area coming into play, a bounce off of that area. Big moving candles. Look at this, bottom tails, bottom tails. That's an indecision candle, reducing volume as well. So potentially we could see a turnaround here. Let's see what it looks like on the 15. There you go. So we've got, just analyze volume, so potential ending volume. That's the highest candle volume for today, which is this big, which is in proportion to that candle. So this is selling climate at the end, bit of a pullback, top and tail. So it's tried to push up and come back. So at one point, this is a green candle and it's converted to red, and 2 bottom tail candles. Look at that. We've got a hammer candle. Oh, that's an indecision candle on I suppose that's reduced volume, so still indecision in the market. There's no real play at the moment, I don't think. But reducing volume as well, notice that. So worth keeping an eye on. So potential bounce there, 81, or we could get into this. This is a area of demand, and the reason for that is because the last time we came down, we had this big tail, so we know there was lots of buyers sitting down at this area, so it's a demand area. And then we saw this big move up. I like to have a demand area, a defined demand area where we've got a bigger candle move afterwards. But then we were in aftermarket territory here, so technically, if you take out the aftermarket, we saw this big move up, so it is an area of demand. So 81 as a potential bounce. A better area is 80, that area there. And then gold I've not looked at today as well. Oh, look at that, we're coming back down to an area we're watching for a potential bounce at 1978. It's broken the 2000 now as well. So that's an area I was watching for long, but it didn't work. And then lastly is look at NASDAQ, doing the same. Came in, look at that, we talked about these levels, 14,637, that's this area here, it touched it and rejected it. Like I said, always trust your levels, the levels just work. So it's just making sure you can manage the trade. So it came into that level and it's coming back down. So the next area to watch for is 14,500, that area. And it's broken through the 200, it could come for a bounce. And if you look, we're in an uptrend at the moment as well. So putting in an uptrend and a big push up. So what could we see next? If we come back down to here, we could see it do something like this, because we know the volume's weak on ES. Maybe we could put in this head and shoulders pattern. So I do like to plan ahead a bit and potentially see up and coming patterns before they happen. So I quite like the idea of this being a head and shoulders pattern. So something to keep an eye on. And we've got the neckline is not a very good neckline because it's too far down there. You could call that the neckline there. This is the shoulder. This is the head. If we come back down, we need to get back down to that area to validate the, and that could be the shoulder there. So, looking good. Right, FMOC in quarter of an hour's time, so I'm going to upload this video and I will see you tomorrow, 9 AM Eastern time, where we go through the live levels again and just quickly show where the levels are working. We got all the levels here. The break and retest is what we talked about. That should have been your only trade today if you followed the video. And we got this demand, this area of supply as well. Definitely off of that area, but we definitely touched the top of it as well. So thank you for watching. Okay, don't forget to hit the like button as well. And especially if you had a good day, any comments, let me know as well in the bottom. Okay, thanks for watching.